with their Panzer Shreks, hoping to render it inoperable. MG42 forced retreat and another Panzer Shrek rocket. There we go. Howitzer is a wreck.
They're losing a sector.
But the same can be said about Mr. Warproducer's forces. Only 3 infantry teams, a mortar and a heavy machine gun. And what does TheTrueDictator have? Numerous more infantry teams and engineers and an anti-tank gun. Certainly not looking good for him. Warproducer this, not TheTrueDictator, who's certainly standing strong here. And he's just getting another howitzer, since he could easily get another one. Stormtroopers holding their ground, slaughtering these riflemen as they try to clear them out. But these engineers might be able to deliver a killing blow, or they might get killed themselves. Veterancy too for these engineers, certainly quite lethal now. And these stormtroopers might in fact then consider getting out there before the fires extinguish their lives. There we go, already 2 stormtroopers have caught on fire and run around in screaming pain before they expired. And currently the TheTrueDictator has secured all 3 victory points. So far so good, and we see Rangers sneaking about as well. Certainly not a bad move. He's certainly been able to turn things around with all of that artillery. And of course, using cover, whereas Mr. Warproducer has seemed to be a bit more lax in his cover usage. And of course, some rather curious engagements, which generally lost him men without much reason for it. And the Panzer Command is going up. And meanwhile, it seems like there's a large lull in the Wehrmacht forces. Not recruiting that MG42, that would certainly be of great help. But that is his own choice. Americans holding the center, apparently gathering their entire operational reserve for whatever might come from the Wehrmacht. Stormtroopers sneaking towards the western victory point. And Grenadiers apparently doing a bit of damage here in the east, forcing back some riflemen. And I'm a bit curious what these stormtroopers' intent are. They didn't stop at the victory point. Might be they want to clear out that anti-tank, and I suppose in preparation for whatever might arrive from the Panzer Command.
Observation posts report we are losing a sector.
And we do have a small engagement here. A bazooka shot absolutely blowing a Grenadier to pieces, absolutely horrific, and they go into a rage, assaulting the Rangers, flinging grenades, doing a bit of damage, stunning the Rangers and certainly throwing them off their guard a bit, but that's not going to stop them in the long run. And these Grenadiers are certainly outmaneuvered. Not entirely sure what's going on here, but I can hear the thump of the 8cm mortar firing away. Stormtroopers acting as observers, certainly not a bad move. These Grenadiers are retreating, apparently seeing in common one of these factories. Not the barrel factory though, but apparently this 1934 factory. There's certainly not going to be much protecting in there, although might be a bit better than those standing outside the building, who's certainly trying to kick quite a bit of fire. And a Panzer Shrek takes vengeance, splattering out a Ranger, and these Rangers will have to get out of there. Oh dear, oh dear. Building though taking quite a bit of structural damage as the windows are being knocked out. And the Ranger team is slaughtered. The Grenadiers stand victorious as a single rifleman escapes.
Enemy unit down.
And Stormtroopers now taking on this anti-tank gun.
We have a threat to our victory point.
Looks like some 17th SS Stormtroopers though were knocked out here absolutely brutally. But this anti-tank gun will also be knocked out in the name of the fatherland, but I still think TheTrueDictator still stands strong. But he does have something on the way of the Panzer Command, and I suppose it will be an Ostwind, since he certainly seems to be that sort of fellow. Fresh American forces moving out, including the Veterans 2 engineers. Stormtroopers standing right out in the middle of the open. Bundle grenade going off. No, it's assault apparently. And he's trying to assault some retreating men, and instead, oh dear, that was a bit of a miss, I think. Pioneers moving towards the center, not a lot of infantry, but there we go, I was correct. Ostwind Flakpanzer. Not the most numerous of anti-aircraft tanks, but it was certainly there. Alongside the Wirbelwind Möbelwagen, and I do believe the Gepard, which was the name for the Flakpanzer based on the Panzer 38T, of which some of the armored units in Normandy were equipped with. Although it was not produced in that many numbers, since it was realized it needed a bigger gun rather than its 20mm anti-aircraft gun. Still would have been a fun tank to see in this game. And Ostwind continuing to wreak havoc, firing away with its rapid fire 37mm gun, just knocking out American infantry, indiscriminately forcing them into a full retreat. And of course, with the anti-tank gun no more, they really have little to actually fight back with, and will have to get sticky bombs. And oh dear. Hopefully that should clear my voice up a bit. A bit of quiet, but the 352nd is still not looking quite yet out of the woods. A Panther now moving in, apparently having managed to secure some assets from the Panzer Lehr somehow. The Panzer Lehr being special, and it was actually formed from training cadres and such, and was conceived as a sort of elite division within the Heer. Certainly not a bad unit, albeit its first action, which was at Anzio, did not go entirely well for the Panzer Lehr though. And Ostwind once more finding itself faced, but it is moving into the riflemen, and of course the riflemen are greeting it with their sticky bombs. Veterancy 2, nice though, but he might have opted for example, Panzer 4 and some more armor. Panther moving in, MG also firing, but it's not really doing much, as you can see. More likely the main gun would do more some damage. Grenadiers and Stormtroopers on the field as well. Panther moving straight into all of this, and more sticky bombs going off, and the Ostwind will probably not survive this. Engine destroyed, but it is still there. Certainly I'm not entirely sure why he's throwing in his armor right into the midst. Grenadiers knocked out by a howitzer shell, that's horrific. And looks like this Ostwind might be wrecked. But the Panther shall certainly remain to watch over this area. Very nice profile indeed. And German's forces have now managed to secure all 3 victory points. And what is this? A bazooka which has not been seized. A bit curious. Fresh anti-tank guns. Will we perhaps see some off-map combat group that might net him some tank destroyers for sure. And certainly if you're standing there and you're lacking some anti-tank assets, then perhaps seeing if you can't save up for that might sometimes save you. But of course you shouldn't always expect on it. You might as well get something not so useful. It happens. But it's a nice bet. Panther pulling back. I'm not entirely sure why. And just doing it as the main fresh American assault moves in. Not turning around though. And looks like these Stormtroopers are finding themselves quite exposed out in the open. True Dictator's men firing away. And certainly these Stormtroopers are looking to be very bad. Panther charging in, knocking out Engineer, and right into the midst of all these riflemen. Again he does it. Why, Mr. Warproducer? Why do you hate tanks? And why do you seem to flaunt proper tank tactics? And now sending in a fresh Ostwind, but this Panther is looking bad. Fire everywhere, sticky bombs, and the gunner is now killed as well. Ostwind joining in with his anti-aircraft gun, but will this Panther be able to get to safety? Bazooka rockets firing away. Apparently some of the riflemen have secured one. Could be a Pantrick. Anti-tank gun secured. Rifleman knocking out the Panther with a bazooka rocket, leaving only behind the Ostwind. And Veterancy 3 is now up for their vehicles. But I think a Panzer 4 bomber may have more help. And Howitzer rounds now flying in as well. Anti-tank gun keeping away this Ostwind flak panzer. And looks like they are trying to secure this western point as well. American charging in here with fresh engineers, all flamethrowers and a few riflemen with BARs. Browning automatic rifles, and we do see the mortar right here as well. Albeit it's going to look a bit exposed here, I think. And we see something coming out of the creek backs, probably a Grenadier team. And Ostwind to the rescue, going to save that MG42, at least force away those Americans. Riflemen getting suppressed by that MG42, looks like it will be cleared out. Yes, indeed. But the Ostwind is there now, making things very unpleasant for those riflemen, but it is taking some nasty rear damage from that anti-tank, and looks like the Ostwind will only be able to survive one more shot, and it's going to go up in flames. It will have to pull back for repairs. And we see some stormtroopers on the field as well. Not a lot, in fact. I do believe he only has that Grenadier team, that stormtrooper team, the Ostwind, some pioneers, and a mortar. Really heavy losses he's suffered. He's not been entirely good at the unit preservation bit, and certainly could have, for example, considered getting a medical bunker or medic station. That's always something you want to try and get. At least try to train yourself in getting it, because it can really be a worthwhile investment and really increase the length of time you can actually survive, or at least decrease the attrition you're suffering. And we see another assault going off, grenades and mortar rounds as well flying in, charging right into the midst of everything. LMG-42 being equipped for those Grenadiers, but they are getting scorched. Grenadiers going up in flames. It is an inferno, a veterancy free engineer team. That is certainly dangerous, gives them extra damage and really makes them lethal buggers. And looks like another stormtrooper team was slaughtered. Looks like the 17th SS will be missing a platoon or two, I think. And pioneers and mortars getting out there, and we do see another unit coming out of the Panzer Command. Might be a Panther, might be an Ostwind, but something tells me it's not going to be a Panzer IV. All quiet for the moment. The 352nd perhaps trying to rally what is left for a final assault. Ostwind receiving repairs from pioneers, and apparently moving out in a pretty poor state. Grenadiers joining in as well, mortars setting up. Panzer Command, and yes indeed we're getting a second Ostwind. Not entirely sure why he did